it started, how gamers became gamers. I am with my co-host, as always, Ben. And today we're here with Peter, also known as...
Hey, who is that guy?
Peter, thank you for joining us today. For this
He looks weird.
Thank you for having me.
The bottom picture looks like my house.
It does.
So they say that gamers don't get older.
That other guy looks like your roommate, too.
What level are you? Unfortunately, level 44.
Finally, someone older than me on the pod. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the man. Yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
I'm 2 weeks away from 41. Shit, man, I'm feeling old. All these kids that come on this pod, like, I'm 33, I'm 30. Fuck, what I wouldn't give. Okay, so
There you go.
this ought to be a trip down for both of us down memory lane then.
Yeah.
So tell me, who first exposed you to video games? And if you don't have a who, then how did you first get exposed to video games?
I do have a who. My parents got me my first Atari 2600.
Oh, nice.
What's an Atari?
What's an Atari?
So what was the
What's a 2600?
games you played on?
I had Phoenix, I don't know if you heard of that. Pitfall,
Yes, Pitfall.
Space Invaders, Asteroids, which that was my favorite.
Sure. Pitfall was the first.
Pretty much, yep.
I mean, that's what it was. That was your
One thing I've noticed doing this podcast is that I do a lot of,
Actually come out with an
not just me, but like Steve and even sometimes the person we're interviewing did the chair wiggle.
The little chair wheel.
Little chair wiggle where we're just sitting here.
That's why I gotta get rolling chairs in this thing.
Oh, wow. I want to say, I think it was a karate game. I want to say it might have been Double Dragon.
Karateka.
I'm not 100% sure.
Karateka. Pull it up right now. Google it, my man, because I'm telling
Google
you right
it.
now, I know you're going to recognize it if you're talking
How do you get the
about a
video in
karate
each
game.
separate
It
block?
was kind of
Is it like that, or?
So we're actually use Zoom to record it,
Okay.
and Zoom does a great job because it actually records the video and the audio separately in
Okay.
two separate tracks. So what he does is he just kind of made his own overlay to cut out and put on top of the recording.
Mission, I think Impossible Mission.
Impossible Mission.
No.
It was called Impossible Mission, which was similar to Mission Impossible, but that's all I remember.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. That is the podcast called How It Started, and Ben's back.
I am back.
He
It's
is
me.
back. Episode
It's
2.
this
You just
guy.
heard the audio because I had horrible video equipment when I first started this. But this is my very good friend, Mr. Ben Marini. He is the mastermind behind not only the first logo, but also the second logo, and I am so appreciative of
And
him.
potentially the third logo. No.
Yep, well, there will be a third one soon. Because I seen some cool ones with YouTube, like where they're like spinning them and like. And,
Well, I mean,
like,
we could take the same logo and do something more with it. You don't have to change the logo each time you do a different
no,
effect.
there has to be a change.
All right, well,
there
we
has
could-
to be
Well, there you go. That could be your thing. It's just a different logo every week.
every week.
Just gonna have me working overtime over there
on the logos. I love this.
Making
I
different
love
logos.
I love this logo, and I don't know why. I had I had a
that
couple
logo loves
people-
you.
Thank you. Thank you, logo. You too.
You're my friend.
I had somebody recently on that said they actually liked the first logo better, and I'm like,
Oh, really?
Really? And then she said I should add some red or something to this to make it look all sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
And I'm like, I don't want this to look sophisticated.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could. I could potentially maybe make something where like there's a red shimmer that goes across it or something.
I could do
Just
that.
kind of like an animated, like just something that you could like a video file that you could loop constantly or whatever that has some stuff
like,
going on.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah,
but
crazy-
then I gotta
crazy
buy
shit
other
everywhere.
stuff to be able to do that because all this stupid.
Well, I mean,
crap.
you could just insert. I don't know.
Apple has my soul. Actually, you can do videos on this.
I was gonna say, yeah, just as long as you can set it on loop or something. I don't know.
We'd have to make it like an hour-long loop.
We could make it an hour-long file. It doesn't matter.
All right, we'll do that.
We can do that. Yeah.
All right.
And then when it stops playing, you're like, oh shit, I'm out of time.
The point of this podcast is just to talk about how to improve the podcast.
The point of this podcast is to talk about the podcast and talk about the other podcast inside of the podcast.
We're in a podcast multiverse.
It's a podception. Wah.
So the first time Ben was on, we introduced him, and he had not yet started the podcast yet. It was just actually in thought by Steve, right?
Yeah. So
you guys were doing
Steve is actually the one that came up with the idea for the podcast. And he ran it by me and asked me to be his co-host, and I'm very thankful that he did.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool of him and awesome. And since then, we've done quite a few successful podcasts. So for those that might be confused, the podcast is about how gamers became gamers. Basically, it's their origin story on how they got into gaming, what gaming has kind of like done for them. And I found so far that the most popular response to that question in particular is just the community. Being, especially with what the internet's brought, is being able to just group up with friends and meet people.
It's crazy.
And
I remember being younger, just playing on Xbox 360 online, and I was like, well, this is really weird. And now what it has evolved to
Right.
is just absolutely insane.
it's just
to me.
kind of completely out of the water. But yeah, just kind of that, and then like coming to what games they're playing now and what they're looking forward to. Just kind of get like a whole story.
Okay.
And we've gotten enough responses out of everyone, and it's definitely been a lot of content. We've tried to keep it around a half an hour, and we've just realized that that's not enough. So we're going to have to do a round 2 at some point with everyone that we've interviewed.
Oh, dang.
And go back. and do
I
some
feel
more.
like, see, I try to at least keep these at an hour.
Right.
Because I know personally for myself, if I'm watching a video podcast, I'm not going to watch the whole thing through.
Right.
I think an hour is like a sweet spot of like, you know, if you're driving or you're at work, it kind
Right,
of just
yeah.
passes real quick. I want to get into the 2-3 hour discussions because like I know you and I could go for like 2 or 3 hours.
We
and
could.
I know that
It would be mostly nonsense, probably.
It would be, but
we could go on.
who cares? If you people like listening to
If you listen to
if there's even any people out there.
Oh.
So the last time you were on, we talked about your Twitch account. We talked about Ruby. We talked about Bleach, which are animes. I don't think we're going to touch on those today because we're still going through some traumatic events from this past weekend with Ruby, but we'll get over that.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about how you started gaming and kind of your first
Right,
consoles and
yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
So
we did.
the reason that Mr. Ben is back today is one, to promote the new podcast, and
yep.
you guys should definitely check it out. They have great people on there, great stories of video games, and
You can check it out at howitstartedpod.com.
howitstartedpod.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty catchy. Howitstartedpod.com.
I think it's .com. I should make sure, but
We should make a jingle.
Yeah.
Howitstartedpod.com.
oh wait, that's the
Da
one.
da 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 da.
Go
Pod
watch the
loving
pod. There you go.
So, Steve is your friend that you game with in Michigan.
So again, going back to the community aspect of
Yeah.
gaming, we met playing Overwatch actually,
Okay.
and that was fun while we were playing it. But we found out quickly that just like so they had a ranked game playing system where basically you start off, you do 10 preliminary matches or whatever, and then based on how well you did as how well your team did, you would be placed into a certain tier or whatever. And I originally was placed into gold, which is rather not ridiculously up there, but it's a cut above the rest per se. And I started playing with my friends who were not as good as I was. They were in bronze, and it's perfectly acceptable for me to play with them, but I would the thing is it didn't really base it off of your own personal skills. It would base it off of how well the team did. And therefore, if team coordination was off, or someone wasn't doing something right, or communicating fully, and you weren't working as efficiently as a team, and you get a whole bunch of losses, it would start pulling you down. I was in silver for most of the time that I played the game, just because of the people I played with. And then towards the end, I got pulled down into bronze. And basically, unless you get a string of like 30 great wins and excellent, absolute amazing plays, there's no way to progress back up.
Because you were playing with these lower level people.
Yeah, it's just not it's not very, I don't know if it's changed since then or not, but because I haven't really played it and I have no desire to play it, but it basically, you needed to have a ridiculous amount of good wins in order to get yourself back up, and the whole ranking system is just not very thought out. It needs rebalancing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it should go more off of the individual player skills and points and totals and things like that than the teams. And the other thing about that is you need a team of 6. So you have to have 5 other people
Okay.
that are online at the same time that you are that are able to play with you, and it's kind of difficult, especially if you just out there by yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't already have 5 other people to play with,
Yeah.
especially on a regular basis and all that. It was just a mess.
Yeah. That's how you met Steve.
Yes, so that's how I met Steve, and then we got tired of that, and then we moved.
Well, was he in this thing with you with the
So
bronze?
we were playing Overwatch
Yeah.
together, and we did things, and he was one of the people that I liked play. I actually enjoyed playing with because he was one of the few people that actually communicated correctly and was, you know, doing such a good job. But we just kept on getting dragged down by all the other players, and
Yeah.
there was a particular person who loved to say, all right, now what could we all be doing better here? I'm like, you weren't calling the shots. Like, I'm doing a pretty good job here taking out targets. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's great.
But anyways, so we moved on from that. Well, we stopped playing that, and he was real excited for the Call of Duty Blackout mode because that was going to be the first Call of Duty's first take on a battle royale.
Okay.
And I personally had never played a battle royale game. He had personally played PUBG already, and he liked that, and he was really excited for the Call of Duty one, and he had it for like I want to say at least like a month, and he just kept on hounding at me to get it. And I had stopped playing Call of Duty back in the day because you play a Call of Duty game, you've played a Call of Duty game. It's another Call of Duty game, and I had a lot of fun playing it myself. But I found that my brother and my other friends that played all stopped. They didn't want to pay $60 for a game that they just get frustrated and angry at.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can kind of get that. And I do get frustrated and angry at it, but I had enough fun playing it that it was still worth it to me.
Yeah.
You know, and it still is. Currently, I'm on hiatus because of anger and frustration, but I mean, I don't know. You got to take a break and come back to it at some time. But so then he finally convinced me to get it, and then we played the shit out of Black Ops 4 Blackout mode. I don't think we got a whole heck of a lot of wins. I want to say like 12 maybe in total of the whole life of the game that we played. But then Modern Warfare came out, and we played
Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm very glad for the 2019 version because that's when it came out.
Yeah.
But we played the crap out of Warzone. And we haven't played Warzone in a while, but we're obviously going to play some more in the future as well. And we both got Cold War when it came out, and we've been playing. I've been playing a shit ton of zombies.
The new zombies, right?
I love
That's
the
the
new
one
zombies.
that you showed me.
Oh yeah. I actually was able to I've always loved the zombies because they had the zombies in Infinite Warfare, and they had
zombies goes back all
the way to Cold War, right?
I think it was even before that.
Before that, right?
Yeah, it was. I remember the zombie on Black Ops 3 was probably my favorite.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Even before, like the original one was you were just in one room, and I think they recreated that in this new game, this new version of zombies.
I don't know if that you were ever in one room.
Well, it was just that giant glowing thing in the middle, and all you would do was just build the windows, and then once they broke through, you'd have to get to different levels, but you were in that one room for a very long time.
Okay, yeah. So that sounds like the particle accelerator room from Die Machine.
Yes.
So that was.
I just don't know the names. Plus, I don't know much about gaming.
Okay, I played it a lot. So, but before this, I had only played the ones from like Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare and stuff like that, and I had a lot of fun playing those. But I was like, there's an Easter egg, like campaign to them or whatever. You can actually beat the zombies mode and not just get to a certain level, like see how high of a level you can get. You can actually beat it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do that. And I'm watching like walkthroughs of this stuff on there because half the shit you're like, well, how was I supposed to know that I was supposed to come in here and look at that, shoot this thing, and stand on one foot? Like, I was never going to figure that out.
Do 3 hops, play some hopscotch.
Spin around 3 times and then shoot the wall. I don't know. Like, how was I supposed to know this?
So what made you say yes when he asked you to be the co-host?
So I guess I just...
because knowing you, and not saying that you're a reserved person, but like at first you're very shyish. So for you to host a show is kind of like, hide me.
Yeah. Well, basically, I just kind of feel like it was something to challenge myself because I've just been kind of going to work, coming home, and not doing things. And obviously, I have a decent amount of talent for designing things, and also like just like I have a lot of different skills and stuff. And I just feel like I'm letting them go to waste by just coming home and sleeping and not doing anything. And I've thought about doing different things like a YouTube channel that I still want to do, but I just haven't acted on it. You know, I wanted to do like Twitch overlays for like real money, like, you know, someone could pay me for some Twitch stuff to like make transitions or overlays or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. And I just never really acted on it.
Are you still doing the Twitch stuff?
I am currently still doing Twitch at the moment.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm going to continue it or not at this time. I do want to do it. I just have to basically decide whether or not I'm going to commit to at least one night a week. Yeah. Because that's what I've been. That's what I've done the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to continue to try and do that.
I think that's the thing with projects. When you start taking on a lot of things, like with what you want to do, you kind of got to either pour all of your sweat, blood, and tears into one thing, and then
and that's the thing. Like
once you can figure that out, though, it's easy to kind of navigate.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, you know, life's been a bit very busy and kind of chaotic and whatnot, and so I'm just kind of debating: do I want to commit this time and be like, oh well, even though I'm playing games to do Twitch, it's still kind of a job per se, in the sense that you got to set up, you got to, you know, make sure you're interacting with the crowd if there is one, and you know, whoever's following it and stuff like that. So it was just kind of like, do I really want to be doing this or not? But the other thing is the podcast will be a great way to push me to do something with myself, to put me out of my comfort zone a little bit, to kind of do something creative, you know, and use some of my talents and skills. And then also from that, as we gain popularity and stuff like that, later on down the road, I might be able to, like, say, use that to promote, like, say I decide that I want to start up my YouTube channel, I could start promoting that on the show. Yeah. And then, you know, the following that we already have with it, we'll start hearing about that and be like, oh, I'll go check that out, you know, and stuff like that. And then I'll be able to pull people to that as well. So
without the YouTube channel, because we were kind of talking about that a couple weeks ago, with what you want to start, is it something like a rocket jump?
So
like a Freddie Wong? Mr. Freddie Wong.
So Freddie U, well, that was his channel name originally.
Yes.
Before it switched to Rocket Jump, but his name is Freddie Wong, and he was one of my inspirations in high school and stuff like that. Like he just made short videos that had lots of visual effects in them, but they were just ridiculous silliness. Like they were just hilarious. You know, there's one where they're shooting guns at each other and there's just flowers and things coming out of the ground where they shot and stuff. And it's ridiculous, but it's funny and hilarious. And I always thought it would be fun. I've always enjoyed humor and making people laugh, and I always thought it would be fun to do some shorts like that. If I got more dedicated or committed to doing things in 3D, I would always love to make my own mini sci-fi series.
Okay.
That would be pretty cool.
Nice.
I did design a few ships back in the day and rendered them in short little like 10-second animations that weren't really anything, but
Now, when you say sci-fi, because I know that you're really big into like the Star Trek ships and the different
Star Trek, Star Wars,
Stargate. Stargate. Anything with a star in it.
Anything with a star. Well, not anything.
The stars. So would it be more of like a just another space adventure thing, or
maybe like a space adventure thing?
Maybe incorporate some anime stuff into it. Have a bankai.
There you go, bankai. Actually, that's I actually at one point, speaking of space and Bleach Bankai, I actually one time at work, because I was so bored out of my mind and I was watching through Bleach at the time, was discussing with another coworker who was also a fan what my Zanpakuto would be. And of course, you know, being someone who's like, oh, it's got to be something really kick-ass, right? You know, like so I came up with a binary pulsar, and it would basically be like, you know, how they have their soul animals or whatever. Well, mine would literally be two suns locked in rotation with each other, and I'm like, that'd be ridiculously powerful. Like, but then as I thought about it, I was actually thinking, what if I could make it so that like I'm the second generation of Shinigami,
Hmm.
and at this point, Earth has discovered space travel, and with that, the Soul Society has now been opened to other hollows and creatures in the galaxy that have just been allowed to feed and become even more ridiculously powerful than they have ever imagined. Thus, the need for even more powerful Shinigami.
I like this.
Yeah,
You might want to
yeah.
send that over to what's his face?
Type Kubo.
Type Kubo.
Yeah. So
Teasing us.
I don't know. I just thought that would be an interesting plot twist. Of
It sounds
why you would
very
have something.
complicated, but it also sounds really cool.
Right, like imagine like space hollows or whatever. I don't know.
Space hollows. That would be something.
That'd be kind of cool.
Little gray hollow man. But so when you have with the YouTube channel too, basically you're seeing a bunch of people hopping on YouTube doing these shorts and everything like that. So how hard is it to plan out what you want to do and like make sure that you stay true with what you want to do without trying to follow the trends of everybody?
Right.
I think that's the hardest thing for anybody.
Right.
One with podcasting, because there's just
So
freaking
much of it.
so many out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
To the point where I didn't even want to do this when I like thought about it, because I had the idea years ago, and then I just started doing voice, and that's when podcasts were taking off. But even with
Right.
podcasts, it's hard to get stuck in that one set of like, this is the way it has to go.
Right, and that's one of the things that's kind of nice about the How It Started podcast is we actually did he did some research, and like there's not really anything, like there's definitely lots of ones talking about games, but there's none talking about the specific topic.
Yeah.
So we really feel like we have a niche to fill
Yeah.
as far as that goes, and it's definitely been interesting. So as far as YouTube goes, I know that it would be definitely contending with a lot of other people. But I don't know. I feel like
Hey, look at Freddie Wong, man. He went from just a YouTube short to the Conan show.
right, yeah, he's doing some pretty awesome stuff now. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. It's just been something that's been a really big passion of mine, something that I've always dreamed of doing, and I could definitely make it happen. It's just about finding enough people to work with me.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I told you. I think that would be so fun just to do. One, just because.
Well, see now I've got people around me like you and some
Yeah.
other friends that are willing to do it. It's just now life is a lot more complicated, and it's not like, oh, hey guys, you know what?
Let's
Like
just
back
all
when I was in
meet
high
up.
school, like,
Yeah.
hey, let's just meet up and hang out for a day, and we'll shoot a video or whatever. But now it's like, sorry, I work this day. I'll be over. I can come this day. And I'm like, yeah, but him and him can't come this day.
I just think it'd be fun. I think I watch all these shorts with you and on my own, and I'm just like, this is so funny, and I know that we could put some funny stuff together. And
Oh,
not
yeah.
even the fact of like if other people would watch it. I just think it'd be
Right,
funny
yeah.
just for us just to have.
And that's the other thing, so part of it's just it'd be hilarious to just have all this
Yeah.
stuff, and if it takes off, great.
All
If
the
it
things that we were
doesn't,
talking about, like
yeah.
all right, so imagine if three friends are just sitting in a living room, and some guy just and one of the other friends just walks in with a sword, and he's just like looking at it, and they're like, guys, Bun guy, and then the whole house just blows up.
The whole house just blows up. The guy drops the sword and runs away.
Runs away. It's like,
My house.
steps back very slowly. And it's like, ah!
Well, that is a Bleach reference as well.
Yes, it is
Yeah,
a Bleach
so.
reference. There's probably a lot of references on here that you normal listeners won't get, but I hope that some of you anime nerds out there will get some of those.
Honestly, my first sketch that I wanted to do is me and my friend Nate kind of. I mean, we kind of came up with it. It's not really complicated, so hard to come up with. But we always thought it would just be hilarious to literally sit down and record something where you're sitting there writing on some papers. You put it down and it says my plans, and you like get up to go get something or whatever, and you come back and you're looking at it, no, and it's covered in foil, and you're like, my plans have been foiled. I don't know. I think it'd be really fun to just do like a mini series to start off with that's just taking practical like sayings to another level.
To another level. Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
My plans have been
My
foiled.
plans have been foiled. What are some other ones? What are some other sayings like that?
Some other things. I
can't
don't
even
know.
think. My plans have been foiled.
You put me on the spot here. I don't know.
I put myself on the spot. I can't think. My brain just shut off. I had one.
Connection issue.
Self-destruct. Watch my brain blow up.
And on this episode,
On this episode, Mike explodes.
Mike explodes. Oh man.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
But yeah, this could just definitely take some other,
I don't think it would take a lot either.
No.
I think you can make, especially with your freaking whatever the hell kind of phone that is, because it's not from this world. The camera on it.
Yeah.
I have. If you ever get a chance to check out Ben's Instagram, he's got some good photos on there with that camera. That camera is absolutely insane. He took a picture. It's a background picture that's on the laptop that we use here to record everything.
Mike thought it was a stock photo.
I thought it was a stock photo. I really did. It's like super high definition and crazy.
Yeah, it's a Motorola Edge Plus, and they definitely knew what they were doing. 108 megapixels.
That's wild.
A lot of detail.
That's wild.
And the aperture's good too. I mean, it's not megapixels everything, but
and
108 and a good aperture.
I remember when you first got it and we were playing around with it, and you played a song on it, and I'm like,
started playing music. You're like, is that your phone?
the speaker.
Yeah. Well, smartphones in general have just come a long way.
So long.
I remember like when I first got it, I remember my parents having the flip phone. Well, I remember my parents having the little Nokia with like Snake on it.
My mom,
and a black and white
the
screen.
First phone that she, cell phone that she ever got was Singular before they were AT&T.
Oh, okay.
It was this big and had an antenna on it. It's like a house phone that you
Right,
would pick
yeah.
up, but it was a cell phone.
Right.
And I thought as a kid that this was the coolest thing ever,
Right.
just to be able to like call people, and I'm like, I'm calling you on a cell phone.
Well,
then-
it was a little before my time, but car phones.
Car phones.
Oh, my
we had
goodness.
a car phone in the car. Well, the car that they had
Right,
at the
yeah.
time, they originally bought it, and there was a car phone in there. It didn't work. You had to pay for like ridiculous amounts. I'm like, how the hell does it even
I
work?
just thought it was ridiculous. The one day I was watching Jay's 2 Cents. He's a YouTuber and he talks of tech and stuff like that. And he had a new video card and he's like, yeah, this is about the same size as a VHS tape. And then he like paused for a second. He's like, there's probably some of you out there that don't know what a VHS tape is. And I'm like, oh man, I feel old.
That is, it's amazing to me how I would say our generation, at least like from the years in which we were born, were the test period generation for all this technology stuff.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can pinpoint every single time up until now, and now I just feel like this really. I'm only 29 years old, but I feel like this really old person. I'm like, you kidding? Your technology?
You damn kids. Get off my property.
Get off my lawn with your damn cell phones and your iWatches.
Your snap books and your face chats.
Your snap books and your
Your Insta tweets.
and your Instagrams.
Insta tweets.
Why are y'all smoking grams and getting them instantly?
There you go. Oh man.
That's too funny. But yeah, no, I remember there was that phone, and then I had a Virgin Mobile flip phone.
I just remember being like, oh man, I wish I had a phone with a full color display on
Right.
it. Like, all right.
And then AT&T had this little slide up phone where your key.
Oh, the chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, was it the
Was it
chocolate?
chocolate?
It was the chocolate.
Yeah,
we
because
just
it's like
it up.
slid up.
Yep.
It was like, oh, that's.
I had that.
That was so satisfying too. Just
I know, just
sliding
being
it
able
back
to
and
slide
forth.
back and forth. I miss those things. Like
Oh,
I miss the
right?
Razor being able to.
Oh
like,
yeah, well they did.
well, that-
Motorola did come out with a new Razor.
Yeah,
It's,
but it's
it's
not
not.
good. It's not
It's
good.
not the same.
It's not
It's
good.
it's not.
It's just.
But the original Razors.
original Razors.
Those were awesome.
That
And then
was
they came
awesome.
out with the Crazer, which was
yes.
slimmer but fatter.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
And then you watch cell
they
phones.
squished it a little bit.
They went from huge to really tiny back to huge.
Yep.
And now they're starting to get small again.
Yeah, it's just a constant fluctuation.
It's just
of,
like, oh.
well, we've done big already. Let's go even bigger. All right, we're really big now. Let's go smaller.
What do we do now?
I'm just waiting for. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen any gameplay of Mass Effect or anything like that, but I'm just waiting for the time where we have an Omni, like what they have called an Omni Tool.
Okay.
It's just like a holographic interface that comes out of like your wrist, and you can do different
They
things
do.
on it and stuff like that.
But I think that it's all right. So it was an ad I saw, and it's this little wristband, and then you can either wear it this way or this way, and there's a camera on it. It connects to your phone with Bluetooth.
Well, I've seen that. You
And
can
then it, like,
project
it projects on there.
your phone onto
So
there.
here's what here's
But I'm
what
talking
thinking.
like more advanced.
like an actual like hologram.
Yeah.
Like up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's all right. I had this idea years ago, and I'm either really, really stupid or very intelligent.
well,
So
or maybe both.
You know how like you have a black light.
Yes.
Okay. And like if you would shine a light off of a black light, that usually like reflects things.
Sure.
So if we had a phone, like, because light will like go off of other light. It'll project. So if you had a phone here like this, and then you had 4 lights on each end, and then plus your screen light, which would come up and act as a black light, and you projected those lights towards each other and the screen coming up, wouldn't that like project some sort of a hologram, and then you just have to be able to like
Well, there's nothing to stop the light and
well, that's why I
contain
mean
it.
you would like point it towards each other and then have like the black light as the screen to like bounce the light back off of. So it's not like shooting in the air, but it's just like kind of shooting off of each other.
Yeah, I don't know how practical that would actually
It's not. I just thought it was a cool idea, and I wanted you to go with me.
All right, yeah. I mean, I totally think that would work.
This is over.
We should do it. All right, goodbye.
Anyway, I think that someday, eventually, it'd be cool to have where you could sit your phone down, boop, and then just pop everything up, and then be able to like do it that
Well,
way.
yeah, I definitely think that it would be really nice if we moved towards a singular device that was just on your arm, and you could
And everything's
pull it
everywhere.
up. You would have you wouldn't need a computer, you wouldn't need your desktop, or you wouldn't need a phone. It would all be just right there. You could do emails, you could do voice dictations, you could
Everything.
get directions, whatever.
Social media,
Yeah,
everything.
all of it.
Someday we'll be technologically advanced enough.
Then we'll all, instead of standing there going like this, we'll all be standing there going like this.
Just walking around like zombies.
And maybe for privacy, you can't see it from the other end, so you just see crazy people just standing there.
What are you doing over there?
I'm checking my Facebook. What are you talking about?
You're slapping the air.
And then they look at you like, you're still on Facebook? We ditched that like 30 years ago. No. I don't know.
You guys aren't on Space Mine?
Space Mine. Back in my day. Back in my day.
Oh,
We had the
MySpace.
face chat.
What a crazy
I know, right?
time and thing that it went
MySpace.
into. Anyway, bad podcast.
Podcast.
I don't remember the original question that I asked you to get to this point.
I don't know.
That's usually how our conversations go, though.
Yeah, bunny trails everywhere.
Bunnies.
All of them everywhere.
Oh yeah. I was asking you about when he asked you to host the show, and you said it gave you some motivation stuff
Yeah,
to do.
so like
How did you feel going into the first episode?
very nervous.
Yeah.
Very, very nervous. There was a couple times where we did we did it with our first episode with a friend, so that way it was a little easier to do. But we also then proceeded to go to a bunch of people that we didn't know, just so that way people didn't get the idea that we're just interviewing our friends.
Yeah.
Because that's not the point of the podcast. The point of the podcast is to get everybody's story.
Yeah.
Now, our friends can be included in that if they want to. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just other people, and we just want to get everyone's story.
Yeah.
But anyways, the first episode was a little awkward because originally I was going to say hi, I'm Ben, or whatever. So, I was just kind of nervous. So to try and break the ice, I was just like, hey, I'm Ben. Just like right off the bat.
Hey, I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben. I'm Ben.
I'm Ben? Question mark?
I'm Ben. I should have thought of that one, right?
But welcome to How It Started. I'm Ben.
I'm Ben. I think.
Well, you guys, you
But,
really, I mean, you in particular have really.
I've definitely gotten a lot better as far as the
evolved
interview
from that, yeah.
process has gone, and I do still get nervous before them, but the level of nervousness is kind of low, and I'm able to pretty easily just
go into it. And
go
everything.
into it. And
Now,
start
do you
talking
and
about
Steve
things.
like, or do you map out who's going to say what to interview the person, or is it just kind of free
No,
for all?
it's pretty much other than the very beginning, it's basically free for all.
Okay.
So I usually always pop the question about what level you are because gamers don't get older; they level up. So
That's why you heard when we started the video when Peter said his level is 44.
Yeah, what level are you? So. But other than that, we basically just kind of, and he does some of the opening questions, but after that, we just kind of let it flow into whatever takes form and shape or whatever.
Got you.
We try and hit the major things like favorite games, dislike games, the list of like consoles or gaming PCs that they went through, stuff like that.
What do you think fascinates people about that? I'll go on my own personal experience. I originally had a Sega Genesis, and then I had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, an Xbox 360, and then an Xbox One. And I never really got into the PC gaming, but
Right.
Like for me, I don't know. It was just I love the creation suites behind everything. So
Creation suites?
I never really played a lot of like RPG or like shooting games or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
I think that when I first started playing, I was playing like sports games, baseball, basketball.
Right, okay.
I played a couple of like the midnight clubs. I played Call of Duty for a little bit, but that was later on. But
Call of Duty.
like I was a huge wrestling fan when I was a kid, and when they started evolving and developing their creation suites, creating characters, arenas,
Okay,
entrances,
yeah.
championships,
Stuff like
things
that.
like that. And then I mean, I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan too.
Right,
so
yeah.
when Xenoverse came out, being able to customize and like having your character actually being able to go like Super Saiyan and like things like
Right,
that
yeah.
was like so cool to me. So for me, it's just kind of like an escape to kind of like create my own world.
Create your own world. Yeah.
And be able to
no, that's really cool. Yeah.
go through with that.
Yeah. Is there like a specific game that like encaptured you and was like was there like ever a game that you started playing and you're like, wow, this is just awesome and I love playing games?
Yes. I would say for like the original generation of video games that came out, the Segas and the PlayStations, it was always Spyro.
Spyro.
Or even I had an N64 too. I loved playing Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, yeah.
That was so fun to me. The game that got me hooked though was WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain.
Oh, okay.
Still one of the greatest games to this day.
Nice.
And the greatest engine I think behind it. I mean, even like all of these high definition wrestling games that we have now, I don't even think can compare to how I don't even want to say simple.
Right.
Like it was so far ahead of its time.
Like the mechanics of it.
The mechanics, the weight detection, the different creation suites that you could do. I mean, for being in 2003, 2004, it wasn't bad graphics. I mean,
Okay,
like
right,
the graphics were good, and then the animation suite of it too, with the finishers and everything, like how it would, because you had that in past wrestling games.
Okay.
You would go to hit a finisher and it would pop up an animation of SmackDown, and they would do their move, but it
Okay.
looked very cringy and like separated.
Right, yeah.
This one, it would like it as soon as you hit that button, it went, unless the other person you were playing reversed it, it went right into it, and everything was just so smooth. And it was
Gotcha,
just
right,
it
yeah.
was that was the game that definitely hooked me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are like some of the questions that we ask and whatnot.
Oh, so I can come on.
There you go. Sure. Why not?
I'll just repeat everything.
Well, according to my script here,
Yes. But anyway, so why do you think that people are so captivated by it?
because it's an interesting prospect, just hearing about, like, everyone knows how they were introduced to gaming and what keeps them playing.
Yeah.
But it's just really interesting, especially like when it comes to like age differences and stuff.
Yeah.
At the point of us recording this podcast, the podcast that I just recorded isn't out, but by the time you launch this, it'll definitely be out.
Yeah.
We just recorded a girl from the UK that she's 19 years old.
Yeah, how did you get
Or
hooked
not
up?
19, she's 21 years old. Sorry, thinking of somebody else. She's 21 years old.
How did you even get hooked up through someone with the UK?
Steve was able to get in contact with her.
Does he
I'm not
play with her, or?
I don't think so. I think he was just scouting for people to interview.
Just to interview,
And he was
okay.
able to get in touch with her. I'm not sure which service he used, but yeah, he was able to get in
Nice.
touch with her, which was pretty cool that she agreed to do it, which
Yeah.
was awesome. And she was saying that her first console was an Xbox 360, and I'm like, oh my.
Oh man.
But it was kind of interesting because as a girl gamer, she was introduced to Call of Duty, and she absolutely loves every single Call of Duty game, and she's just, like, that's been her passion, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really cool to find out that someone's introduction to gaming was Call of Duty on an Xbox. Like,
Yeah.
that's just kind of neat, just seeing all the different walks of life and how everyone can kind of agree on something similar,
Yeah.
and their experiences playing games.
Yeah. That's true.
I think that's what's interesting.
Yeah. I just remember growing up and being told to stay away from Grand Theft Auto because I would go out and
Evil.
I would go out and steal cars and shoot hookers, and I didn't want to do that.
Yes, because if you do it in the game, you're definitely doing it in real life.
if you're doing it in the game, it's happening in real life.
Because, after playing Need for Speed, I just went out and grabbed somebody's car and started driving around.
Oh,
doing
you
race
didn't
street
do
racing.
that?
The whole point is to do it in the game,
Do it
and
in the
not,
game,
not in
yes.
real life.
And it
that's,
gives you
that's
that-
the, you know,
it
that
gives you
release,
that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go to hell and shoot demons with a shotgun, but I play Doom anyways.
And it makes me feel like I am. Oh, that's crazy. Well, I think it's really cool how you guys. I mean, even with the interviews you guys have already done, branching out to all these different plethora of ages and age groups, and
Oh yeah, definitely. The more
I think
variety we can get, the better.
the better. I mean, especially with people that are like so devoted to this, which
It's also people's opinions too, because like not everyone has the same popular opinion. Like, oh, this game is great and this game is bad. You know, we've had some people that like have contradicted things that you would typically like the majority doesn't follow, and it's just kind of
like
neat.
in certain games, or
Like in certain games,
Okay.
but then you also get to ask them like why they think that way, and you can kind of get you thinking about it, in a different light, which is really kind of cool. Because like the one Grave Tech, we did an interview with him, and he pointed out how much of a hardcore Dead Space fan he was, and he really wants a fourth Dead Space to tie up the storyline. And I'm like, I don't actually remember being like on edge about wondering what happened in the storyline when I finished it. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, that'd be really kind of cool. But then we, my brother asked to be on the show, so we did him. His isn't posted now, but it will be by the time you post this.
okay,
We did his, and he was saying, like a lot of the trilogy games, not necessarily everyone, but most of all of the trilogy games that they come out with, the first one is always the best.
yeah,
And then it just progressively gets worse as it goes. And I think that's mostly because, and I'll agree with him on this, is all of the mystery is in the first one.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going on. You're questioning how things are, like, why is this happening? And that this person, you're meeting the characters, you're getting sucked into the story.
Yeah.
And then, by the third one, you're just like, okay, now what are we doing?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Like Assassin's Creed, though, I liked the first one, but my favorite, I think, was the fifth one.
Okay.
I forget which one that was, though. I can't remember.
But I'm also always good for a good story game. I mean, I'm super stoked for the new Mass
Well,
Effect.
if you can take a story and keep it fresh, and I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that they make the first one
Right.
so good, and then they don't think they can live up to that hype on the second one, so they just take little intricate pieces that you might have missed
Right,
in the
yeah,
first,
yeah,
and then put
for
it
sure.
in there, and they're just like, "Ha, you didn't see this coming." I'm like,
Well,
"Yeah, I did."
And that's the thing. Like the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, those were all great games. They were all a lot of fun. They all had decent storylines. They were all, the best one was still the first one.
A
but
lot
the
of people
second
have a
one
lot of disagreement with Mass
was really
Effects.
good. The Mass Effects, yes.
With all of them, I know Troy and a couple
yeah.
other people. You guys had a conversation about that one time.
We've had a lot of discussions on how it started about the Mass Effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the Legendary Edition. That's supposed to be the remaster coming out. I got
On
a
the shirt.
Yep.
If you can see it home, on the shirt, not on the audio. I'll show you in the audio.
Yeah. Listen to my shirt.
Did you hear it?
Did you hear it? But yeah, I'm definitely excited for those. There were, and honestly, I feel like what I've heard the most out of the complaints of Mass Effect in general is just the ending of the third one.
Okay.
And it just kind of disappoints me that a lot of people focus on, the end was terrible, so you're gonna discount the entire game over that, or like throw it to the wind just because the end wasn't quite the way you wanted it to come out. Like,
I'm one of those people. But not with video games, but like with TV shows and everything.
well, yeah, I mean,
How I Met Your Mother, my favorite show ever. I hate how they ended it. And I'm like, and it just discredit. Or even with Bleach, I hate how Bleach ended. I hated how they did that.
yeah.
It's coming back.
When you say ended, you mean the anime,
The anime, yes.
not the actual end
No.
in the manga.
No, not the manga.
I don't know. I feel like the end is kind of disappointing too, at least how it's written now. But I heard it was because it was rushed, and that might change. So
In the manga.
yeah.
Okay. So now they're
Let's
gonna.
just say Tight Kubo likes trolling.
Yeah. Why? Why does he do that? He better not do this with Burn the Witch. I'll be so mad. But it's coming back. So.
Yeah. Supposedly,
Sean the non-believer. Sean.
I'll believe it when I see it. I've been let down too many times to get hyped.
What's it
up.
been? 2012 it ended?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long ass time.
Or 14. 12 or 14.
Forever.
It's never coming back.
It'll be here tomorrow. No.
Yeah, right. And it's like, new episode.
Surprise.
And here
Yeah.
it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
I guess that we can look forward to anticipating Bleach.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to Mass Effect.
I am very much looking forward to Mass Effect. Don't expect to see me around once it comes out in May.
I've never played any of them, so I don't. I can't relate with.
It's just like, and one of the things that I think really did help Mass Effect become a really good game
Mhm.
is they wrote the storyline for 1 and 2 before they even started working on Mass Effect 1.
Oh, so they had the complete story.
They had
for
the
1
complete
and 2.
story for 1 and 2
Okay.
down. Maybe not final revisions of them both, but they had the framework for both
Yeah.
games down before they started working on the first one.
It's a lot of
And
dedication.
then they did the third one
Yeah.
before they started work on the second one.
Okay.
So with that, they really did a whole lot of things. And I think the major disappointment with a lot of people with the ending
Mhm.
is the whole thing is your decisions mattered from 1 to 2 and how the game played out. And then you could take your save, so you could take your game save from 1 and import it into 2, and it would change how the game played. And then what you could do from that then is take your save game from 1 and 2 and import that into Mass Effect 3,
Okay.
and that would affect your gameplay as well. But the very ending, the last mission, the final outcome was all kind of still the same.
Okay.
And that's where people were really upset because they were like, I thought my decisions mattered. But
Oh,
it
because
really
the
just...
decisions mattered so much throughout each game.
And then they
kinda
were really
just gave it to 'em.
disappointed because basically they were like, oh, well, you just get the blue ending, the green ending, or the white ending. I'm like, okay.
So how many different scenarios is there in the game? Did they ever say, like, for you making your decisions?
I mean, final result, there were only 3. I
Yeah.
think there are 4 now because they did revisit it and try and appease the fans.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the game itself goes, there's just so many different decisions that, like, you could have different combinations of the same decisions,
Okay.
and that would affect your gameplay and what actually takes place. So, like, you could choose to save this person and kill this person, and then that would affect something else where, like, you decide to, attack this place instead of this place. And then, like, or maybe next time you save the same person, but you decide to attack the other place instead of this place. You have a different outcome. So there's a number of different decisions that you could make that would affect your gameplay in the next one. And as you progressed, especially into the third one,
Yeah.
you had a lot more decisions, therefore creating a lot more variation.
Yeah.
So each playthrough would be a little bit different at the very minimum.
Yeah.
So, it was just kind of interesting. And I know if you didn't do things right in the second one, you could lose like half your squad or all your squad or whatever, and everyone would be dead for the third one. It's like, okay.
So this is the fourth one coming out?
They are coming out with a remaster.
Remaster.
They're remastering the first 3. So the first one came out in 2007, I think. And then the 2009 and 2012
Okay.
were the other 2. And the combat in the first one, let's just say it was to be desired. Like,
Okay.
like it was excellent story. It had a lot of mystery, but the combat was just kind of weird, and it worked.
Yeah.
It wasn't unplayable.
Okay.
It was just awkward and kind of clunky. And then they improved the combat a little bit more in Mass Effect 2 and kind of made some of the skills, but it still was kind of, an in between almost. And then in the third one, they really polished it off and made a real fun shooter, like with like your skills and abilities and different things that you could do as your character.
Okay.
So what they're actually doing is they're not just bringing up the textures and everything and the visuals and stuff like that. While they are doing that, they're also going back and taking the time to bring that combat from the third one and kind of rebalance it all across all 3.
Okay.
So the biggest they've said that the biggest changes are going to be the first one, which makes sense because it's the oldest.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have less changes to the second one and little changes to the third one.
Okay.
But basically, they're going to be unifying it so that it all plays through nicely as one solid game.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited for, because like that's what I've always dreamed of. Like, what if I could have the same combat I had in the third one and the first one? You know, and they're finally actually as long as they follow through. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. And
You
that's
know.
this one that's coming out.
This one that's coming out in May.
So it's just a remaster of the first one.
It's a remaster of all three.
Okay.
It was
Just
six.
in one story or one game?
So they're giving one game, but you'll be able to choose if you want to start playing Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3 inside the game. It's one
Okay.
application.
Yeah.
And then you can pick which one you're going to go into from there.
Huh.
And it's at the time that I pre-ordered it, it was $60, and you get all three games and over 40 DLC, which is like every DLC they ever came out with,
Jeez.
except for maybe one or two, because a different studio did it or something. I forget.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, holy crap! Like $60 for 3 different games. It's probably some of the best games that I've ever played.
Yeah.
The storyline is just ridiculous, especially since they laid out the story for, the first 2 and then started working,
Yeah.
the way they wrote it.
I was looking at some of the clips on the gameplay of it, and the graphics look absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah, the trailer. I've watched the trailer many, many times.
Over and over again.
And each time I'm just like, I want to watch more. Where is it? I want to play it now.
Where is it all?
Why can't I have it now?
Why can't I have it?
Although I'm okay with waiting until May. I feel like it's almost a pipe dream just because of the way the economy with computer components and things like that are right now. But I'm hoping that I can get my hands on a new graphics card before this comes out, because I want to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
In all of its splendor.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how intensive it'll be, because if they're going to only bring it up to Mass Effect 3's level of detail, then it should, just to make everything uniform, which is incredible along its own, probably isn't going to stress my video card that I have right now too much. But I'd still just be able to max it out and just play.
Just play it.
Just
all
let
I
me
want.
play.
So you play the PC. Have you ever played any console games?
I played some GameCube growing up. I've played some Wii here and there.
Okay.
I played PlayStation at my friend's house a lot.
Okay.
And growing up, I had an N64.
Nice. Well, I'm going to play a little game here. And this is going to either piss a lot of people off or get some insight to somebody who plays PC gaming. I'm going to go through and just name different consoles versus each other. You tell me which one you would have preferred at that time. Meaning, like, so an example, we'll do like the N60.
I don't know if I know enough information for this.
Oh, you will. I know you do.
Okay.
We talked to you enough about it. So we'll do the first one. So PlayStation 1 versus Sega Genesis.
I had never actually played Sega Genesis.
Never played Sega Genesis? No. Okay. Well, then we'll do PlayStation 1 versus N64.
I never really played PlayStation 1 except for at my friend's house, and all we ever played was Twisted Metal. So
Okay, Twisted Metal was a good one.
I'd say PlayStation, I don't know, probably N64. I have no idea.
N64? I was always torn between that. I always thought the PS had better graphics, but because they were discs.
PlayStation had better graphics, but I mean, how can you beat Super Mario 64 or like GoldenEye or what was it, Dark something?
There was
I
another
forget
one.
what it was.
No, that was PlayStation. I played Rock'em Sock'em Robots on.
No, there was
I can't remember what it was.
there was another first-person shooter game on the N64 called
Sniper?
Dark. I think it was Dark something.
Dark something? Dark
could get-
Order?
You could get like a crossbow and stuff, I think.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I don't know. I just remember that I had friends that played it a lot. I was like, oh, this is cool. And ironically enough, when my parents took me to the dentist, they had a Donkey Kong with N64 in the lobby. I was like, I like this game.
Oh, the good old days. Xbox versus PlayStation 2.
I didn't have either.
Neither. Never played on any of them.
Nope. I played Halo.
What a
with my
weirdo.
I know, like I said, I don't think I have enough information here to actually. My console gaming is very limited, and it's been mostly at friends' houses.
How about 360 versus the PS3?
I mean, from a technical specification wise, I'd probably go with the PlayStation 3. But again, I didn't really play on those. I only played at my friends' houses. The only thing that I had fun playing on the Xbox was Halo with my friends. And
that was regular Xbox, right?
Xbox 360.
Okay, so how about...
And the only reason I had fun playing that is because it was with my friends. I didn't actually care for the physics in Halo because it was really kind of slow moving.
We always had Halo nights.
I was introduced into gaming with Serious Sam and Unreal Tournament. So Unreal Tournament was like, jumping all over the place and doing all this. And then I played Halo, and I'm like, hold on.
I'm getting seasick.
Like, I'm going so slow. What is this?
I remember
it just was a completely different play style.
We had this place in when we were younger called... was it the Hangar? Yeah, it was called the Hangar, and we would just have Halo tournaments there all the time. It was just that was such a big freaking thing.
I remember because I was I was into the gaming more than some of my friends were, even though they had the Xbox 360.
Yeah,
and I just one of those people that I can pick up a game and I'm really good at it. Even though I'm not used to controllers, I was used to mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
we were playing free for all with three of us.
Okay,
and it was kind of sad. The end score was 100 to 54 to 14. Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't help it.
I didn't mean to do this.
Obviously, those friends have gotten much better at gaming since then, but
other than that,
when we played the first couple of times, it was just kind of like
a little bit of a massacre.
Here, they were down here. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not like, do you want me to play with one eye closed? I don't know.
Man. Well, you're looking forward to Mass Effect.
Yes.
The podcast is out now. It is called How It Started, How Gamers Became Gamers. He is still on Twitch at Zivion X3.
Zivion V3.
Zivion V3. I had that in the description below. Last time, I'll put it back.
You can also check out my website, zivion.net, and it will have all of the stuff that I'm doing, the podcast. It'll have my Twitch on there. It'll even have some of my graphics design stuff.
We'll have all that down there if you want to check Ben and Steve out on the podcast, or if you want to see any of Ben's gameplays. If you have any questions for him or anything, you can get in contact with him through that. As always, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube at Wallace Production, WALLESS Production. You can see all the wonderful episodes there. I thank you guys so much for always supporting, listening here. As always, there'll be a Patreon account down below if you want to give. And if you guys know anybody that has any type of story, even like this, or just likes to sit down and have a conversation,
somebody that likes to talk,
tell them to come on. Tell them to come on. We love having conversations. It's not that I'm running out of people. It's just that the people that I've had lined up, scheduling during this time is a very big thing. And
for sure,
thank God that some things are finally getting back to, I'll say, normal, and we can have some more people come on here that weren't able to come on later on. But I appreciate all the people that do come on, like my good friend Ben here. Thank you, Ben, for the logo. Thank you for coming on again, talking about the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
We'll do this again sometime, hopefully with Peter.
Yeah, we need to get him on here.
And we'll get Steve on the big screen.
There you go.
We'll do a couple things. So, Steve, I don't know you yet, but you're going to come on the big screen. All right?
There you go.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thanks.